Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls across the world. It is your boy Shad Talks Graps, and we are back with another installment of Wrestling Republic Daily Broadcast. We have not only a jam-packed show, we have a jam-packed day. You know, if you've been living under a rock like Patrick Starr, you should know that today is WrestleMania Day 1, and we got a lot going on, man. We have our daily right now. We're going to be going over what happened last night on Friday Night SmackDown, as well after this, NXT Stand and Deliver, NXT Off the Air. Myself and Drizzy will be reviewing that, so don't miss that as well. And then tonight, watch along, WrestleMania Night 1, Chaos and Ben are not going to be doing this on, you know, how we usually do it in different locations. Both of these guys are going to be live in effect together. And this last year, if you remember it, it was an entertaining one. Ben is like 0 for 45 in predictions. So hopefully Chaos rubs it in if he gets it wrong today too. But man, let's get this show started. And as of now, we do have a 2-man team. We might get a third person coming in the middle of the show. Obviously, earlier start time. But I got to introduce my host, co-host on the show. He was in the comments yesterday watching SmackDown, so I know he feels highly opinionated on it. David Sheldon, how's it going, bro?
Hello, everybody. The microphone was on. Hello, everybody. Very excited to be here. It's WrestleMania weekend. No matter how much this company has tried to do in PR this week to make me not want to watch WrestleMania, thank you, WWE. I'm really excited to be here because it's WrestleMania and woo! Just last year when we did WrestleMania predictions, which I wasn't on this year, I sang the theme, or I did a spoken word rendition of the original WrestleMania theme. This year, obviously, I can't repeat the same trick twice. So I thought I'd look at what the WrestleMania theme is this year. And it's a song called Timeless, I believe, by The Weeknd. And I looked at the incredibly family-friendly lyrics. So let me just do a dramatic reading of them for you now. Ever since I was a jit, knew I was the... Okay, yeah, no, that's enough of that. Let's get on with the show.
Oh, man. That is hilarious, dude. Weekend, why aren't you performing live at Mania as many times as he has a song tied to WrestleMania? I feel like it is a rib at this point.
I thought I'd do it as a joke. I thought I'd say, "Oh, I'll do a dramatic reading and I'll do it like I did last year." There's no lyrics I can say on this chat. None of them. Literally not a single one.
For sure. And
they're probably going to do some really interesting. I imagine they'll do some sort of censoring, or they just won't bother. But
yeah. Also, Playboy. You know, I'm a hip hop fan, so Playboy Cardi is on both songs because obviously the song that we've been hearing in the commercial since last year was Fiend, which is Travis Scott and Playboy Cardi. Travis Scott, who may or may not be at WrestleMania tomorrow in that main event. We'll see. But let's talk SmackDown. Let's get through this episode because we had a big-time promo from, in my opinion, one of the most underrated wrestling superstars in the WWE roster, Seth freaking Rollins. I always say he is like the anchor of the WWE. He doesn't get the praise that a lot of his counterparts get. The fans will even show you that within this main event between the two individuals he's going against. But yeah, you know, crisscross applesauce, Indian style, cut his pipe bomb last night. And I loved it a lot, David. I think Seth connected so many dots that the WWE booking didn't connect for us. Dots that were super obvious for us to go into the storyline. And he kind of touched base on each one. And, you know, talking about his relationship with Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, how he has been the hyper focus between within Punk and Roman, but how he has similar ties with Mr. Heyman as well, with the Wise Man, and just going full rogue, man, talking everything that he's talked about CM Punk, and really, really wanting me to see him win tonight. Like I think I've been on the band of that from the beginning. Seth is my favorite out of the three personally. You know, he might not be the biggest superstar out of the three, but to me, he's someone that has just carried the brand, waved the flag for the WWE, and does what he does at the top notch. And I'm super interested to see what goes on tonight. I mean, I ask you, man, what are your thoughts in regards to what was said yesterday overall in the promo? And then we can kind of dissect about it, how it leads to tonight, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I enjoyed this quite a bit, actually. I think that Seth Seth, when he is serious, Seth is a really, really brilliant promo. I think some of the is a bit naff, but when he actually sits down and really goes for somebody, he's really, really good. I thought his physical delivery was really, really strong. Obviously, coming in, hearing the CM Punk chants, very deliberately sitting into the Punk pose, very, very good. What I also loved about this is that this was broadly in kayfabe, so it may have come across like a pipe bomb, but to me, it never felt really like one because there were a couple of Tony Khan references early on, but for the most part, it was, if they wanted to go out of kayfabe, they would have said that Punk created the Shield. Because that's the widely known story, is that Punk was responsible for the Shield. It was supposed to be Chris Hero, ended up being Roman Reigns. Punk has said that publicly. Instead, they went with Heyman to be the heavy for CM Punk, which I think is really interesting because that keeps it in the kayfabe world. And personally, I find that far more interesting. We'll see in the next segment an example of a kayfabe break that completely backfires. I can't wait to talk about that nonsense. But this is all in story. This is all believable. I wish that this was what the build had been for 6 weeks and that we're not now on the SmackDown before trying to tie these loose ends up. I don't think they should main event the show. I've said this before. I think it should have gone to the women. And the reason for that is that I think the build has underdelivered. This promo was great. This promo was a strong promo from Seth because Seth is a brilliant talker. Had the crowd, it always makes me laugh. Rollins is making really good points about how awful Roman is, and then they all chant Roman's name. It's very amusing, and it's a very weird character dynamic across all three, across Punk, Roman, and Seth, in terms of where the crowd's allegiances lie. We'll see that again in the main event segment with Cody and Cena. But yeah, this promo made me more excited for the triple threat because what I want to see, as much as I think that the Paul Heyman story has been really good, actually, I don't think that's a Mania main event level story. Because you spend the whole match waiting for the Heyman stuff to happen. At least now I can see where the steps are in terms of this is the rest of it. This is the meat and potatoes of the story. This is what it should be about. It should be about the styles of wrestler. It should be about the legacy of the wrestler. There was no nonsense from Rollins here about how this is the biggest match in the history of matches. It was just, this is why I don't like Punk. This is why I don't like Roman. I will still be here when these guys have gone. And I think that is a very important wrinkle in the story. And physical delivery, verbal delivery was a knockout from Seth. And yeah, full support behind this. I think it was a terrific way to open the show.
And I 100% agree with you on that. I think it is a standpoint that, yeah, it goes to, it shouldn't go unnoticed like that point that Punk left the WWE for a very long time. And then Roman obviously has left the WWE due to unfortunate circumstances. But since returning and a big duration during his title reign, he wasn't there all the time. Where, like you say, Seth, when he was champion, he's there. When he's not champion, he's there. He's just always there. The only way he's not there is if it's due to an injury. The guy takes no days off, and the fans are so, I can't, you know what? Last night's crowd was an interesting one, to say the very least. And we're going to talk about,
they just didn't know who to cheer for in any segment.
No, and a lot of it is so interesting to me because we're talking about, obviously we're going to get to the main event when we get to the main event, or the main event segment per se. But I also look at the triple threat women's section, and we can talk about that briefly because it is a 2-man episode, so we got a little bit more time to cover on stuff. But with the women's triple threat and everything tied to that, Bianca getting a heavy amount of boos as
she was
well.
booed very heavily. And I think the character... Oh, go on. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
No. Go ahead. Go what you going to say.
I was going to say, I think the character that Bianca's been playing on TV has lent into that. So I think that the fans booing her, I don't think they're booing Bianca. And it's the same reason I don't think they booed Cody. They're not booing them because, boo, I don't want to see you. I think they're trying to... They know what they want. And they're just pushing that. With the Cody thing, I think it was more trying to be edgy. To boo, I think it was just, we'll boo Cody because it's fun. I think they're booing Bianca because that's kind of where they see the story moving. And I think that's fine. I think the segment was the women's segment, to touch on it, because we may as well. I thought it was good. I think it was a bit clumsy. I think that the execution of it was a lot of one person comes out, then another person comes out, then another person comes out. I like the fact that they're trying to put the Naomi, try and sort of combine those two stories together. A bit late now, I think, to do it on the SmackDown before Mania.
Very late.
Very late. Because Bianca did the story with Naomi, then Naomi's gone away to do something else. Bianca's gone away to do something else, and now they're trying to tell me, oh yeah, no, we're back together here. It's like, well, the show's tomorrow at the time of the show. It's like the show is now in what, 4 or 5 hours?
Yeah,
bit late now. So, So
and that was a worry for me too. And I was talking about that with a friend of mine. I was very annoyed that Bianca was kind of stripped away from the Jade and Naomi storyline for these last few weeks, and it's really been full focused on. And the build for that has been great. I'm not saying that build hasn't been great. I think Naomi specifically has definitely transcended the interest of this storyline because we've seen a new character for her, the heel character. I love the new gear with the caution tape, but also yesterday the eyeliner like crying out, looking like she's starting to lose it a little bit. But Bianca, like to your point, she's such a integral part, if not the biggest key to the storyline between both of them. I get it. She has another match and you want to pivot towards that. Sorry, Triple H. But it is also a strong point you got to keep her somewhat aligned in the storyline for it to make sense between these two.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the problem you have is because I think that Bianca actually moving away from the story has done wonders for Naomi because it's moved Naomi away from just the second. It's given Naomi spotlight. So I actually think in the long run it's going to help all 3 women. The problem you have is that that's not narratively satisfying. And because it's not necessarily, it feels like Bianca is in a whole other universe at the moment, and she's sort of caught between these two worlds. And I think that's fine. I mean, I'm excited for the women's title match. I don't think the women's triple threat has been built very well. But I don't think a lot of things on this card have been built very well. I do think Jade and Naomi has. I think that's been built very well. And I'm excited to see the match. I feel like Jade is going to kill it, and I would quite like Naomi to have a bit more than that. But I'm looking at this card and I'm thinking, well, I feel like you need something in. Like, I could see a squash, and I don't want a squash, but I could see one happening, and I think it's either going to be that or it's going to be Jacob and LA.
With the amount of matches on each night, definitely one match will get cut sometime in that manner. And that's fine. I think it's gonna be Jade and Naomi, to be honest with you.
Yeah. One of my things that this is going off on another tangent, but one of the things that I've always found a little bit with Triple H is booking, is that all of the cards fall into the same pattern. They're all quite long, and it's the same thing with TK. To be fair, they fall into long matches. All given this about the same time. Obviously, some given a lot more than others, but I do miss attraction matches at Mania that go a few minutes and are just precisely what they need to be. I think a lot of people will of Brock Goldberg at 33, where it goes 4.5 minutes and it's 4.5 minutes of just bang, 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 and you're done. Or China squashing Ivory for the women's title. Exactly what it needs to be. It's not great, but it's exactly what it needs to be to rectify that story. I don't want to do that to Naomi. I don't want to Ivory Naomi because that's not fun. Naomi's great. Ivory was great, but
Ivory was sensational. But it's a standpoint that we've seen Naomi really build her character up so well to this point where it's just like, man, it could be detrimental for the future of it. Because like to me, I see a lot. Like I see a lot of potential in her as a heel, and I'm looking at a women's division on SmackDown that, and we'll honestly, this can segue to the next topic. There isn't a lot to desire what's at the top of the card name wise. Like there's a lot of people that are not giving us a lot to be just interested in, honestly. But I look at like Jade. Jade is a very interesting character, obviously, because she is who she is. She carries herself like that. And I do think now that she's away from the tag team stuff, how they brought her back into the Elimination Chamber, she feels like what she should always have been, how she was pretty much booked in AEW, right? Yeah. That's the cream of the crop, what I like with Jade. Like you mentioned it with like the Goldberg thing is very synonymous to her. You're just a beast. You're a monster. You don't need to have these type of matches. And then Naomi, she's so good as a heel that I'm super intrigued and interested in it, where we can get to this next topic right now. We'll talk about both little promo videos. And I do want to say this. They were clips of previews of something that's supposed to air today.
It's going to air on the pre-show. So we'll see the full interviews on the 3-hour-long pre-show. 3 hours long, for the sake of the poor buggers that stand and deliver, who've got to have the stupidly early call time for that. Cheers.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So Wade Barrett has 2 sit-down interviews with Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton, and both of these interviews feel so like them actually annoyed and upset of how the storyline's built in the online perceptions rather than them going in full character. And I want to touch on Tiffany for a second because she had an interview, I believe it was with Gorilla Press or whatever.
I think it was Gorilla Press.
Gorilla Position, yeah. And she was in full kayfabe in the interview. But with the interview on WWE, it seemed out of kayfabe. It seemed like a lot of her talking about her reservations of everything. And then Charlotte, she just seems so out of it and not like I fear for this match a lot, dude.
Charlotte,
like I'm so functioning. Yeah, like I really think I don't want to talk about a person's mindset because I don't know what her mind is thinking, but obviously she's on record talking about all the adversity and trials and tribulations that she's gone through in her personal life. A lot of it is stuff that's outside of pro wrestling, but a lot of it is in the standpoint of pro wrestling. With she had a huge injury and she took time off and came back. I truthfully think she didn't expect to get this much heel heat coming back, man. And I think that's messing with her, dude.
Like, yeah, it's been, oh, good grief. I mean, Tiffany, to touch on her first, hers was the least egregious of the two because she at least looked like she was trying. I mean, the story they were taking her in, we've gone down that Charlotte's a bully and said mean things route, which is not who Tiffany is. No, that's never been who Tiffany is. That character.
Tiffany is the bully.
She is the bully. Even as a face, she's the bully. She's the, she's the, like, at no point have we ever established, oh no, Charlotte Flair was mean to me. It's painful. And I feel bad for Tiffany because this should be her big crowning moment. It's Mania. I should be, this is her big stage. She's really young and really talented and got loads of potential. And it feels like her stock has just down over the last few weeks. I mean, one thing I will say about Tiffany, though, that I think was a terrible thing to say was that she did an interview. I don't know if it was the Gorilla Position one, but she did say in an interview that she thinks that losing the title will be a good thing for her. So
yes, it was the same. It was the same
interview. And I'm looking at it going, what?
You don't say that.
Don't say that. I get what you're saying. I'm not saying you're necessarily wrong, like from where your mindset is, but I'm supposed to go into Mania believing you want to win. Because
that's for us to say as reviewers and
yeah.
podcasters
Wrestling's
after
not,
it happens.
Yeah, wrestling's not real, but you do have to make us believe that you care. It's extraordinary. I mean, I do want to go off on Charlotte as well now, because I mean, the meme went on the Twitter of the reactions of the four of you yesterday. Geordie, Archie, Ben, and Shad, all of immense confusion. They were nothing on my immense confusion. I have absolutely no idea what Charlotte Flair was doing in this segment. She looked confused. She looked like she had never stepped in front of a camera in her life. She didn't really make any eye contact. She looked herself completely perplexed at what was happening. She tried to start a kind of out of kayfabe, I think, thing. Got tripped over her words, started again, and sort of said exactly the same thing twice, and said nothing towards Tiffany, said nothing about the match, said nothing about anything. It was just a complete mess. And we were talking, I was watching the watch along for SmackDown yesterday. That was wonderful. And if you haven't seen it, you should go and watch the best bits on the Wrestling Republic YouTube channel. But the thing is, people were talking about, it's an out of kayfabe promo. I don't care if it's an out of kayfabe promo. I've seen good out of kayfabe promos on WWE TV. I've seen good attempts to blur the lines. I've seen good shoot promos, well delivered promos, well intentioned promos. This was just, it was, as an actor myself, it was diabolically acted. It looked like she didn't care. It did nothing towards the story on Sunday. It was a waste of television space. I'm going to watch the full interview, and maybe my opinion will change. But if that was just a really bad clip taken out of context, you know what I mean? As in, if it was just a bad section and an otherwise great thing, then that's on WWE. But putting it on television, if they've got a longer interview, this is what concerns me. If they have a longer interview of this that they're promoting for thing, you want to get a really good clip to put on TV, because the television show is your build. A lot of people won't watch the pre-show. I will, because I hate myself and I got nothing else to do tonight. But people will not watch the pre-show. So you've got to pick something that hooks them. If that's what they thought would hook viewers to want to watch the rest and want to see the match, I'm terrified about what the rest of that interview is. Because there was no substance, there was no energy, there was no enthusiasm. It was legitimately just appalling. And I appreciate Charlotte's had some difficulties in this feud. It's not the way she wanted to come back. But you cannot, whether it's WWE's fault or Charlotte Flair's fault, you cannot put that on television, because it was so poor. And I agree with Ben. It's one of the worst promos of Charlotte's career. And I think one of the worst looks that she's probably ever had on television.
And I definitely agree. Man, this feud has been a spiraling mess. I'm at a point where I do think both of these women just want to get the match over with.
We'll see tonight. It could, if it over delivers. The thing is, if it over delivers, I still don't think it's going to make the woman look great. Like, if they go out and have a banger in the ring, I still think that the lasting memory is going to be the weird build. But I mean, the other thing you look at is, if you look at Charlotte and say Becky Lynch, when they had their whole thing, with the title and the throw it on the floor, and it made everyone look awful. And then they went and had a banger match, and everyone just talks about the banger match. So I could see it being a good match. I could also see it being a train wreck where nobody cares. Because the problem is, what I'm not really seeing in the build for this from anybody is a sense that they want to rectify it. I'm not seeing this sense of, well, look, that was a mistake. To be honest with you, that's the Jeff Jarrett MJF stuff, where clearly was not working, was not what they wanted, and they just went, "I solved this, wrap it up, rectify it, move on," and tried to rectify MJF into something a bit better than that.
Yeah. Sometimes it is, and it's difficult, obviously, in this situation, because it's a Mania match, and this was what anyone wants to say. This was a match that I think, if you put on paper and we didn't know this would be the build, I think we would all be excited for it, because
this was what I wanted. I wanted this match. I wanted Tiffany and Charlotte. I didn't want it the way we've got it. I didn't want it with like I think nothing about this has worked at all. The fact they tried to start it out with Charlotte as a face is hilarious. Then they turned her sort of made it clear she was a heel. Then they just had just terrible promos every week. Charlotte's not helped Tiffany. Tiffany's had a bad showing. It's just if you look,
I feel bad for whoever comes out on top, and I say that honestly because if Tiffany comes out on top, it's going to be okay. I need to really show why I'm the world champ these next few titles, or the reign is going to be short. Charlotte, to me, is going to always have to go against that big elephant in the room, and that's the people out in the crowd. Those are the fans. The fans don't want her to be champ. They're just, for whatever reason, it may not be on her, but it may be fully on how they book her and position her consistently. People are just tiresome of it. And
I'll give you two reasons why. I think reason number one, they've not given you a reason to care. What is Charlotte Flair's character? Who is Charlotte? What is her wants? What are her motivations? I compared it last night to Okada. Okada was always around the title picture in New Japan and had a kind of similar character to what I think they're trying to do with Charlotte. This constantly about glory, constantly about that top level.
Yeah.
But Okada was arrogant. He was insecure. He was egotistical, but he could prove it in the ring. And each person that he came up against would have a different interaction with him. So that Okada had enough nuance in there that even as a sports story, it made total sense. And I completely understand. I'm not always Okada's biggest fan. I actually somewhat prefer the goofy character to some of what he was doing in Japan. But, ultimately, I understood. I don't understand Charlotte. The other problem, and I've mentioned this before, Charlotte Flair has been in a world title match at every single WrestleMania she's wrestled.
Yeah, she has.
32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37 she was supposed to, and then COVID took her out. She was meant to face Asuka, got removed. 38, 39, 40 she was injured, and now 41. She has wrestled for a world title at every single Mania. And at a certain point, no matter how good you are, and I do think that Charlotte in the ring is brilliant, you're done. At that point, it's just like anybody else.
I mean, it's similar to sports in a way. People are tired of seeing the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. People are tired of seeing the Patriots that were always in the Super Bowl. Whatever it may be, the Lakers, the Yankees, people get tired of that a lot. And it's a difference between the difference is this is a scripted show where they're giving us this person is
they can just not do that. They can just do something else. It is possible. And I completely agree that it's Manchester City winning 4-5 Premier League titles in a row. Eventually you're just like, anybody else, please. Exactly. And Charlotte's not won all those matches. She lost 35, she lost 33, I think. She lost 39. She's not won all of them, but I think people just want something else now, unfortunately, and it's a shame.
For sure. Let's get a couple comments in, and man, there's a lot. I'm sorry I haven't been reading them, guys. We got the homie Fernando Zayas, who's been rocking with us from the start of the show, saying the go home show to Mania was fire.
What bits were fire?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely was talking good about Seth, saying Seth is totally winning. I thought that since the beginning. He also, in regards to the Naomi build, he says Naomi wins by DQ because Jade is going to be in the match too emotional. We'll see. I make beats. What's good, Wrestling Republic? Just dropping in on this WM weekend. Have a good one. I'll try to jump in the chat when I can. Good brothers. Always salute to you, man. Thank you for your support, bro. You definitely are appreciated for that, even if you rocking for a little bit or rocking for a lot. We also have Fernando saying that Tiffany did have a dumb statement in regards to that, and I do not disagree. Archie was saying this is the worst Charlotte has ever looked in her entire career.
Not saying something, given some of the some of the stuff she's done.
Shoot,
Remember
that's
the shoot with
crazy.
Nia Jax?
Yeah. Oh my God, that was pretty bad too. It's up there for sure. Charlotte and Becky overcame that moment with the promos following it as well. To be fair, and he also states, "I want to see what Charlotte is outside of the title picture." I think we all do, honestly, but we'll have to, they got to give us a chance to see that. But I'm going to pivot away from SmackDown for a quick second, and I want to talk about some of the good partners that we work with. First and foremost, if you haven't already, go to the App Store or go to the Google Play Store and download the Etsy app. It is an incredible app where you can, chat and communicate with different content creators as we go live. It's a great space. If you have issues with I say, Clark says, David says, Ben, the whole 9 yard, you can go on there. You can chat on us, or you can also get on the audio and talk to us face to face. It's a fun place. So definitely download that. Go to the upcoming stream sections. That's where you'll find it. And last but not least, we are here at WrestleMania weekend. We cannot forget about the good people at Progress Wrestling. If you use the code Watch Progress 1, you get half off your first month on demand Progress Plus. This is the home of Progress, Defy, and much more. My cat is making noise because she loves Progress Wrestling a lot too. I know, Kai. It's okay. But definitely go ahead and do that, man. They just had a banger show this week too. They got actors winning belts, so that's always fun. All right. Let's go to another thing that we got to be negative about. We're going to get positive on the show, I promise y'all. The ending segment was really good. But the ladder match for the tag team titles. And I'm going to kick it off first, man, because this to me is one of the situations where I don't particularly get the direction of this Mania, because if there was one thing evident, whether I like it or not, also, because I will be honest with you, the SmackDown tag division gets a little convoluted and boring, but I will have to be honest to say that they booked the storyline for this the best. Like, the story between the tag division is that all these tags hate each other and they want to get that belt. The Motor City Machine Guns, the Street Profits, and DIY want to be tag team champions, and that is that. And they've been hot potatoing the title between all three teams. It's made a lot of sense. Last night we had a match that started at 9 o'clock. A tag team title match on Mania weekend started at 9 o'clock. That was kind of okay, maybe there will be a screwy finish, and maybe this can lead to Mania. We got it. DIY came out, interfered, stole the titles, and backstage we get an interaction between Nick Aldis, and he states that man, y'all are gonna settle this score, but you are not settling the score at WrestleMania. You're not even settling the score tonight. You are settling the score next week on SmackDown, and that is not fair to these three tag teams. This division is arguably better booked than the Raw tag titles. And they have a match at Mania. And I get it. The New Day are legends. And they had a great heel turn. But guess what? Y'all did jack shit after they turned heel. The storyline with the War Raiders has been boring as hell. Where you have these three tag teams, the Street Profits, super over. DIY, they have been putting a lot of work on the main roster. And then the Motor City Machine Guns, who you have told us that they are the legends that they are, and they're a big deal. A ladder match at Mania also just feels so right. You didn't put every other multi-person match in it. Why this is happening, not even on the SmackDown before WrestleMania, but a SmackDown after WrestleMania, is just complete idiocracy. And it's something that I had major issues with last night, if y'all saw on the review. Man, David, I know you want to touch on this real quickly before we go to the main event, because everyone saw the reactions of us. We were pissed about it.
It's silly. It's just silly. I understand them putting New Day Raiders on the Mania card. if they do something with Big E, which I think they might. But I still think that, you have a three-way TLC match. Put it on Mania, guys. And look, I know they want to stack their SmackDown match, and I think because of the backlash they've got from this, they'll go and make the match next week absolutely brilliant, so that they can go and try and spite people. But it's a frustrating one, because I do want this to be a match that gets a spotlight on a big stage, because these three teams are brilliant. They're doing high-flying TLC stuff. Yeah, by all means, it should be on Mania. I'm baffled that it's not, especially, Pretty Deadly and Legado del Fantasma have completely fallen away from the story. They were both in the admittedly very good Andre Battle Royal, but it's just frustrating. I think, all those years on from the original one with ENC, Hardys, and Dudleys, why not do it again? Why not do it again and try and recapture some of that magic for the SmackDown Tag Division? The good thing is we still get the match. We still get to enjoy the match. I just wish it was in front of a stadium full of Mania fans and not the Raw after, not the SmackDown after. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. And, salute to the Street Profits. They were on Cameron's podcast yesterday, and Cameron and Randy Savage impersonation is like, why are you guys not on Mania? And hey, man, they were, quiet, laughing, chuckling about it, being good sports, being political as they be. But I know damn sure inside that they were like, if these guys know it and they're not even like big wrestling fans at this point, how do you think we feel about it? So, like you said, it is what it is. I want to read a couple comments before we get to the final topic. Hey, yo, got the homie Big Driz in the comments saying,
hey, really?
So there ain't enough room on this card for a TLC match. There's like no stip matches except for Drew and Priest.
Drew and Priest. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's mental, really.
weird.
Which is, I don't mind that if the matches are all brilliant, but which they probably will be, but still, have some variety, guys.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Fernando Zaya saying TLC belongs at Mania. Drizzy also saying that the Profits deserve a Mania moment, especially as champs, man. These guys put in a lot of work. Look, man, y'all gonna F around and let Montez be a star outside of WWE. Y'all keep playing with him like this, man. I'm just being real. It is kind of crazy. And then we got the homie Mart76 saying that there's 10 hours of wrestling each day, and they count to put the tag titles on Mania. Title match on Mania. I mean,
could they have taken some of that 3-hour pre-show and done something under, added another Mania match? I get it, but
yeah. I will say this: salute to Shawn Michaels. We have a TLC match on NXT for the women's tag title starting soon. So salute to that. All right. Let's get to the nitty-gritty, and this is the final topic of today. Cody Rhodes and John Cena's promo exchange last night. And I gotta be honest with you. These two, when given an opportunity, when Cena is physically there, he might not be there because he might be invisible. We can't see him apparently, but when Cena is there, I love the promo battles between these guys. And I like it a lot for Cody Rhodes because Cody Rhodes rises to the occasion against Cena. Cena is really honing in on this heel character very well. I think a lot of his rhetoric and what he says comes off as so arrogant, pompous, really disrespecting the crowd. And Cody is playing the superhero. He got the cape and he's going to bat for the crowd and he's going directly at Cena. And that is a lot of what he did last night. The intrigue is this, and we spoke about it earlier, and it seems like this wants to be the bit of the topic, is the fact that he didn't get all cheers last night. He did get poured with a good amount of booze. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not really putting a lot of merit or thought into it. And I'll tell you why. This is John Cena at the end of the day. This is John Cena on his retirement tour at the end of the day. I know what the worry is. I know that everybody in wrestling is fearful that Cody is going to be like hated by the fans compared to what was in AEW, and then he's screwed all over again. Far from true. Cody has been nothing but the face of the franchise for this era of the WWE, for this Triple H Renaissance era, whatever they want to call it. So that's fine. But nostalgia is nostalgia. This man is on his retirement tour. This is the last hurrah for John Cena. Fans are still, no matter if he's a heel or not, they're going to go to bat for him, man. This is the last time they going to get a lot of them people last night. This is the last time they will ever get to see John Cena live. They don't care about the heel character. That's the attachment they have to it. So to me, it's not that big of a deal. David, what do you think?
I don't think it's an indication of anything towards Cody at all. I think it is exactly as you say. I think people are just really excited to see Cena. And this segment is fascinating to me, and I might have a slightly different opinion to some others. I really liked the segment. I think that the ability of Cody to turn around a crowd that is booing him to chanting his name is remarkable, and a sign, and the perfect sign if we need that the crowd weren't really booing Cody. They were cheering Cena, and then they will run round. I think that Cena's promo was brilliant, and I am not a Cena guy. I've complained so many times about John Cena doing promos and burying people. Take back to Austin Theory, fan speech. But this was the perfect piece of truth. I don't think it ever went too far into Cody. I think it was exactly what it needed to be. I think that it was a brilliant bring back to the crowd, a brilliant bring back to why. Ultimately, the point of this promo was to say why Cena is better than Cody. Not because he can out wrestle Cody, because he can't, but he can outthink. And he has a new philosophy on life that Cody doesn't have. Cody has a weakness that he can exploit. And that is the perfect promo to go into Mania, because now we know exactly what Cena is targeting. We know exactly why Cena believes he is better than Cody. I think Cody's delivery was in his retort was brilliant. I think if you actually break down what Cody said, I actually think his retort was quite weak. I think that the crowd, all that matters is the crowd response. All that matters, and the crowd were massively into it. And like that, Cody is so passionate and such a brilliant orator that he can sell anything. But ultimately, a lot of what Cody said back in response didn't really come back at what Cena had actually said. He just went through the usual, you can't wrestle, stuff, and you bury people and all the rest of it, which is good. And it's all true and well delivered. But I would have liked Cody to go more into what Cena actually said, because I don't think that Cody massively stood up for the crowd. I think he just kind of threw a bunch of insults at Cena being overrated and not a good wrestler. And we've heard those criticisms before, and they're fine and they're valid and they're true. Well, no, maybe not, but they are they're valid, and you can make those arguments. So I think that the delivery was brilliant. I don't think that Cody really got into the heart of a retort to Cena's point that Cody relies so much on the fans that will end up being his undoing, because the weight of the title will just grow too weary for him, because and these people who he called idiots, and kind of rightfully so considering the way they were in the segment, ultimately they're fickle, and these are the people that you cheer. I think that Cena came out a lot better in this promo exchange than Cody did from a content perspective, but Cody, in terms of his popularity, is absolutely, pardon the pun, undeniable.
Yep, and hey, man, it's going to be interesting as we go to night 2. I think these guys definitely did what they got to do. I'm still in the belief that this is Cena's record to break, but hey, we will wait and see. That is all the time we have. Program note, like I mentioned, thank y'all for rocking with us today. This was a great episode of the Daily. Obviously, thank you to David as we navigate this as a 2-man, but it's all good. Stuff happens when the schedule gets switched around. Stand Deliver happening right now. After it's done, myself and Drizzy will be off the air So peep that. And then tonight we have a great episode of the WrestleMania watch along with Ben and Chaos. You don't want to miss it. Tomorrow we're back again, regular time for the daily. So don't be, no alarm on that. We'll be back tomorrow to review night 2. I believe. Are you on it tomorrow or?
I am on for night 2. I am on for Monday. So I'm on Monday show. So I'm
on the night 2 as well. But night 1 we'll be reviewing that tomorrow. Then there's a watch along tomorrow night 2. So there's a lot going on. We're giving you a lot of content. So keep supporting, keep rocking with us. And in the words of potentially the future champ tonight, Jey Uso, deuces, we're out. Peace.